greatest weapon in the universe.
For a long time, lanterns has felt like one of the strangest mysteries in James Gunn's new DC universe. The biggest concern surrounding lanterns was never whether Hal Jordan and John Stewart could carry a series. The concern was whether DC would get scared of the weirdness. Too many early images and teases made the show look almost suspiciously earthbound. We saw roads, desert landscapes, low-key conversations, and just enough of Hal's ring to remind us that yes, technically, this was still a Green Lantern project. But that was never enough to calm people down. Fans were right to wonder whether the show was about to strip away the boldest parts of the mythology in order to chase prestige drama credibility. This new trailer finally pushes back against that fear. It confirms what the earlier material refused to say out loud. Lanterns is not ashamed of being a superhero story, and that matters a lot. The most important reveal here is simple. The powers are real, they matter, and they are going to be visible. That may sound obvious for a Green Lantern series, but up until now, that obvious truth had been weirdly absent from the marketing. This trailer changes that immediately. Hal is using the ring. He is flying. He is protecting himself from danger. He is shaping energy into objects. He is doing Green Lantern things. And the minute that starts happening, the whole show suddenly clicks into place. This is not just going to be a detective series with a ring in someone's pocket. It is a detective series colliding with a superhero mythology powerful enough to reshape reality. That collision is where the show becomes truly interesting. Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan already feels like the key to making that balance work. Everything about this trailer suggests that Hal is not being framed as a generic mentor figure or a washed-up veteran just there to hand the story over to the younger hero. He feels like a character with history, with philosophy, and with enough damage or experience behind his eyes to make the ring feel like more than just a weapon. The trailer even hints at that through his comments about power itself. He talks about how strong the ring is, but he also emphasizes that what matters is knowing when and how to use it. That is a strong core idea for Hal Jordan. It turns the ring into more than a cool effect. It becomes a moral instrument, or at least a test of judgment. And that is why I actually like the small contradiction embedded in the trailer. Hal seems to hold this almost disciplined view of power, but then we also see him casually create a dollar bill for personal use. That is a tiny moment, but it is exactly the kind of thing that suggests the show may be willing to play with the moral looseness of someone who has had godlike power in his hand for a long time. A guy like Hal might absolutely believe in rules while still casually bending them for himself. That is character. That is texture. And it instantly makes him more interesting than some stiff, hyper-serious saint in a leather jacket. Aaron Pierre's John Stewart, meanwhile, looks like the perfect counterweight. Based on the trailer and the broader setup, it feels like John is entering this story from a position of imbalance. Hal has the ring. Hal has the power. Hal has the experience. John has the potential, the discipline, and maybe the clearer moral center, but not the same immediate access to what makes a Green Lantern a Green Lantern. That is a fantastic source of tension. It means this is not just a buddy show. It is also, at least in part, a succession story, a power story, a story about what happens when one man already understands the force he carries and another is being shaped into the person who may one day replace him. That is where the show's more grounded side starts to make sense. If John is still moving through part of this world without the ring, or at least without fully owning what it means, then Lanterns has a built-in reason to spend time on the human scale. John can still investigate, question, clash, and navigate danger without the story turning into non-stop cosmic fireworks. That helps explain why the earlier material felt so restrained. It may not have been hiding the powers because the show was embarrassed by them. It may have been hiding them because John's journey is partly about stepping into a world where power is already in motion before he fully possesses it himself. And if that is the case, then that is a much smarter structure than people may have expected. What also stands out is that the show is clearly not staying trapped on Earth. That was another major fear. Green Lantern without space is like Batman without Gotham or Superman without the sky. It can work in fragments, but eventually the mythology has to open up. This trailer finally confirms that Lanterns is willing to go there. We see space. We see larger environments. We get the sense that the series understands the Green Lantern Corps cannot be treated like a footnote if the show wants to deliver on its premise. That does not mean the whole thing becomes a non-stop cosmic opera, but it does mean the world is bigger than a road, a crime scene, and a couple of moody conversations in the dark, and thank God for that. Because the Green Lantern mythos lives or dies on scale. The inclusion of Guy Gardner matters too. Nathan Fillion's guy already made an impression in Superman, and now Lanterns is confirming that he will not just be some isolated cameo. He is going to matter across the season, and honestly, that is a smart move. Guy brings a completely different energy from Hal and John. If Hal is experienced and John is emerging, Guy is chaos with a badge. He is a kind of character who can remind the audience that these rings are not only about solemn duty, they are also about ego, recklessness, and wildly different personalities trying to operate inside the same cosmic institution. Bringing him into the show multiple times adds unpredictability, and this series is going to need that. I also think the two-timeline structure be one of the most important things the show has going for it. Chris Mundy revealing that Lanterns will follow both 2016 and 2026 gives the series another layer of mystery that goes beyond what is the current case. It means the show is not just asking the audience to solve what is happening now. It is asking them to figure out what already happened and how that earlier event shaped the current crisis. That is exactly the kind of structure that can make a detective series addictive when it works. It also fits the Green Lantern concept surprisingly well, because these are characters defined by legacy, succession, and the burden of what previous choices leave behind. And when you put all of that together, Lanterns suddenly starts to look like one of the most important projects in the DCU's first chapter. Superman got the universe started. Supergirl and Clayface will expand the tonal range, but Lanterns has a chance to do something different. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. This is where these kinds of films come to life. Until the next story, stay curious, be critical, keep your eyes on the screen. And remember, every film you haven't seen is a new film.